7:21. One thing I started doing during this liquid fast, because I'm still fasted, by the way. I'm still fasted. It's 7:21 on the 14th, and I started on the 11th, I think. So little less than 3 days right now. Huge strides have been made, I won't lie. So that's really reassuring, and it's relevant to what I wanted to speak about, where playing the long game when it comes to certain aspects and areas of your life, playing the long game equals long-term gain, right? I'm gonna say that again. Playing the long game equals long-term gain. It's where real achievement happens within your life, when you play the long game. And so many people nowadays, they love to want to shortcut the process. They actively strive to look for shortcuts towards solutions to the numerous problems and issues they have within their life. But if you want to become successful, if you want to become your best self, you need to sacrifice that urge. Because becoming your best self in and of itself is a long game. It's not a process that you can just shortcut like that you can just find the solutions to online or from other people. Becoming your best self, it all comes from intuition, from doing what you believe is right and doubling down on that. And that's exactly where playing the long game comes into play, where it's all about leaning on your own intuition. It's all about trusting your own judgments, because in doing that, that is how you develop real self-image and conviction within yourself and your beliefs. You see, when you shortcut the process, when you have that, you constantly have that urge, and you constantly fulfill that urge of outsourcing problems within your life, it detracts from who you are as an individual, because now you become so overly reliant and dependent on the external when it comes to developing yourself internally through becoming your best self, your 2.0. And within my own life, because of course this is something that I've struggled with for quite some time, but time and time again I've been proven that the long term is where the real magic happens, and that the short term, just looking for those shortcuts, it never works out. And so the easiest example is this fast right now that I'm doing regarding my gut health. Shortcut I could have taken within this, because like I've mentioned in previous, or in my video on specifically my gut issues and how I'm approaching it, I mentioned that over the past month this has been an issue, right? These gut issues have been, creating this discomfort, this bloating, all of that for the past month. And in my head, I viewed it as a shortcut if I decided to go to a doctor and was just like, oh, I'm experiencing this problem, what do I do to solve it? I could have easily done that, but I told myself, you know what? And this is important, is that you don't especially want to shortcut in the areas that you're passionate about. And when it came to my health, of course, I'm super passionate and driven towards becoming my healthiest self. I decided, you know what? I want to figure this out on my own. I'm going to rely on my own intuition. And of course, externalize my power a bit, because truthfully, when it comes to, issues, bodily issues and whatnot, I don't necessarily think it's valid to just solely trust your intuition. But I told myself, you know what? I think I have the resources myself within, of course, considering my own intuition and certain experts and information that's already available online. I told myself, you know what? I can 100% figure this out on my own. And over the last month, it's just been constant experimentation. And truthfully, it was a lot of mess ups. A lot of mistakes and failures were made in the process. that, signal to me that I could have came up with the solution much quicker had I decided to just go to a doctor. But it is through those mistakes and failures that I've accumulated over the last month that now I've developed this experience, this knowledge when it comes to gut health, when it comes to my own body especially. Now I know what actually works and doesn't work relative to fixing my gut. And it's something that taking a shortcut robs you of. It robs you of that potential to gain that valuable experience and knowledge, because it is through that is how you develop real wisdom. That is how you develop real expertise, because when you're able to actively speak from a perspective of personal experience that, yeah, I did this and this didn't work, but this actually worked, you can then come and speak with conviction, knowing that was the case, knowing that you endured the process of the trial and error when it came to discovering these things that serve you well. And when you go and teach that to others, I can't help but imagine that people they respect you more, and they see that effort and work that you put in terms of carving out this version of you that is able to rely on his own intuition. And I feel like that's exactly what I'm doing right now when it comes to speaking on the camera right now. And as I mentioned, this gut health, the fasting, these issues have been such a profound experience for me in terms of my health journey, in that I've just been able to learn and absorb so much information through my own intuition, through external resources. And obviously within the fast, I'm on day 3 right now, and I just feel so much better. I feel so much better, and it finally feels like the issues are coming around, all because I trusted my own intuition to commit to the fast. And especially and it's not even just within the fast as well, just to throw out some more examples. Other instances of my life where the long term has served me well was my job. Came to getting this job, it was in high school that I first got that desire to get a part-time job, to start making money, because of course struggling with dependency was something that really has highlighted my life for so long. And so I wanted to have that financial responsibility, independence, and of course, when you're in high school, everybody, oftentimes goes and gets a job to start stacking up some bread. And the thing is that I knew I wanted to have that independence and responsibility, but at the same time, I knew getting a job back then when I was in high school, I knew it wasn't the best thing for me. I knew it wasn't the right thing at the time, considering my mental health, where I was at that point in life. I knew it wouldn't serve me in the way I wanted it to. And so essentially what I did was I played the long game. Instead of trying to force myself to get a job that I didn't like, trying to work at some place just to get money and give myself that ego boost of like, oh yeah, I'm making money now, I'm independent, I instead waited. I waited until I graduated from high school. I waited throughout the whole summer, and then I went into my first year of college, did that, and it was only after that, right, and this desire came about in towards the beginning or the middle of my senior year of high school. And I essentially played the long game until the end of my first semester of college. So essentially a year, right? I waited a year before getting a job, before I determined for myself, you know what? It's time to get a job now. And in doing that, as a result of that, I started working at Whole Foods. And, especially considering my priority is health right now, I've only been working there for the past few months. And it truthfully has been one of the best decisions that I've made thus far within my personal development journey, was deciding to wait it out and choose a job that actually aligns with where I want to go, because it is through that job that I've been able to become so knowledgeable on diet and nutrition, because obviously I like to shop there, man, and they got good stuff. I won't lie, they got good stuff. But even then, now and then, of course, having that financial independence, being able to make money now for the first time, it's given me such a boost in terms of my self-image and how I view myself. And it was all because I decided to play the long game and not choose to get a job that, I feel like a lot of people, they get jobs and they just hate them. And it's like, why? I got a job, and it was, I of course, there's days where I go in where I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. But for the most part, I'm so grateful that I work the job I work. And of course, I acknowledge it's not the end point. It's not the end point by any means, but it is such a important step within my journey. And another example is obviously content, right? This whole content thing, where I could have also forced myself back then when my mental health was struggling, but I still had that desire and intention to become my best self. I could have easily forced myself and gave in to all the advice people give online, all the creators saying, oh, just start posting, don't think about it, just start. When in reality, it also served me well to just wait it out, to just work on my own personal development and actually gain that experience and knowledge. And now that it's been, probably about a week or so of doing this, I know that this was the right decision, because now I can speak with more conviction from a place of having more knowledge and experience when it comes to the things that I'm talking about, that I couldn't have gotten if I just decided to commit to it all the way back then when my mental health was struggling, because I would have probably been more likely to just quit, right? Because even now, I acknowledge that the growth isn't insane. I'm not getting a lot of views and whatnot. And considering how I was back then, I probably would have seen that and been like, you know what? Screw this. This isn't for me. But I acknowledge now that I have the knowledge and the experience that this is just a skill. It's simply a skill that needs to be developed. And obviously in the beginning, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a bit difficult. There's going to be some friction. But I know that as long as I stick to it, as long as I remain consistent and play the long game in terms of this content thing, it'll all work out. And that's the main idea right there. That's the main idea. Referring back to the long game equals long-term game. As long as you stick to it, as long as you stick to whatever it is you're striving for, and you play the long game, and you refuse to find those shortcuts, you refuse to go online and look up videos how to become rich, how to become successful, all of those things, and you instead just commit yourself to listening to your own intuition and following what your heart desires in terms of becoming your best self, your 2.0. That is a recipe for inevitable success right there. And if it only occurs through the long game, 100% of the time. Long game equals long-term game. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the neighborhood gym because I'm still fasted, so I've been training lighter. It's not been fun since I loved training hard and whatnot, but we gotta do what we gotta do. It's just part of the long game, baby. But the fast has been going well. I'll probably break it either maybe today or tomorrow, not sure, but hey, see y'all. I'm gonna go hit this biceps legs lift at the neighborhood gym. Probably do some cardio after, but yeah, see y'all.